Every year, FanSided names one super supporter as its Fan of the Year. The 2017 winner is Larry Lien, who loved the Minnesota Lynx. Larry passed away recently from cancer, but I'm now joined by his daughter, Roxanne. If your father was around, what do you think he would say about receiving this award?
Oh, he'd be greatly honored. Flabbergasted, I would say, and smiles. He was a man that smiled all the time and was just joyful, so he would be very honored.
What would you say made him such a good fan?
He brought sports and our family together. That was one of the biggest things that he did for us. Started when we were little, coaching my sister and I in our sports, and then continued that love through high school, following my sister through college, and then being fans of WNBA and also all things Minnesota.
Yeah, you have the Lynx shirt on,
Yes.
and I would imagine, I don't think it's hyperbole to say he may have been the biggest Minnesota Lynx fan there was. Why the Lynx?
Why the Lynx? I think it goes back again to what I said earlier, that he was just a great love for anything women's sports. With having two daughters, I think that's where he honed his want and love and desire. So it started off when Lindsay Whalen was with the University of Minnesota, and then as she progressed with her career to the WNBA, our family just drifted to becoming a Lynx fan. And then it just stayed there, and just the love of the Lynx and of just the great community that they brought the community together as a great organization, and honored women, and was very, very, it's just a great way to come together with the community.
And I know going to a game with your dad was more than just a game, it was kind of an experience. Can you describe what it was like to go to a Lynx game with your dad?
Yeah, so we took the light rail to the games, and so that was about an hour trip. So the whole time talking about what the game was going to be like, who we were playing, any concerns that he had about maybe the opponent and what they could do on the floor, right? And then when we get there, we'd have to stop at our favorite corner restaurant, and we would have a bite to eat, and he'd always order himself a beer, but make sure that it was a root beer. And then we would have to get to the stadium before, like about an hour before the game even started, and he would sit and he would read all of the stats, the flyer that they would hand out, and then we were ready for the game. So it was always, the other thing that we would also do is take a bet, a wager, and we would always pick our favorite players and who would score the most points. And it was a $5, like, throw on the table and see who would score the most. And that was one of the biggest things that we always looked at. At the end of the game, we'd always have to pony up our $5.
He was basically doing the scouting reports beforehand, too. So he knew what he was doing. Now, unfortunately, he was in hospice at the beginning of the WNBA Finals, and he died between games 4 and 5. But you and your sister still decided to go to game 5.
Yes.
Now, I understand that this was a very sad time, but how much did his fandom allow you to kind of celebrate his life?
I think it was a great way for my sister and I to have that full circle grieving process through our dad's passing. Game 5 was very, very emotional for us. We were the fans that were crying in the very beginning when the Lynx came out, but in the end, we knew that our dad was still there, and that it was a great honor for us to be there, just living through him now. And so we have season tickets for next year with our family and bringing our children. So we'll continue his passion through our family as well.